In beautiful Sisters, Oregon, I met up with Friesian trainer and long reining expert Clay Maier, whose Friesian Spectacular Act wows audiences across the country. It was my day to learn the ropes.
You said Dennis is 13, is that correct?
13 years old. His name's Aaron, actually. I just call him Dennis the Menace.
Okay, I know there's a connection there somehow.
Yeah, but he really lives up to his nickname.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He's got a good sense of play.
He does.
Yeah. Probably the movie that comes to mind that featured the Friesian most prominently, I believe, was Braveheart. Wasn't Mel Gibson riding a Friesian?
I think that could be, but the big Friesian movie was Lady Hawk.
Oh, okay.
Lady Hawk is almost like a cult movie for Friesian lovers. And there's a scene where the Friesian gallops down the aisleway of a cathedral.
Wow.
And it's very dramatic. And the Friesian people in the United States, if you took a poll and say, what was the most impressive thing that you've ever seen a Friesian do, that would be on the list.
Really?
Yeah.
And that was a real scene. I mean,
it was a real scene through a real cathedral in Europe somewhere.
Yeah.
And he's galloping down it, and it's just hugely impressive.
Wow.
And no one had ever seen a Friesian then. And they thought, what's that? I want one.
I asked Clay if there are any benefits for regular folks in doing long reining.
There sure are. There's especially once you become proficient at it, you can start doing things like developing lateral movement.
Uh-huh.
And the nice thing about that is you can actually see what you're trying to accomplish, see the results that you're trying to get. And that's one of my favorite things. Also, you can develop a horse's top line. You can see what kind of progress you're making.
Well, that's a good point. You can see from a distance how he's carrying himself.
Exactly.
If you're trying to get him to learn how to collect, give to the bit,
Yeah.
get his hind legs more underneath him. Hard to tell sometimes when you're on his back if that's happening.
Yeah, you can judge your progress that way.
Yeah.
Also, you get a fresh horse that's got a lot of energy and you don't feel like climbing on his back. You can have a pretty good session with him without actually getting on and endangering your life sometimes.
Well, would you like to demonstrate a few simple things for us? And then I would love it if you would teach me
Okay,
how
sure.
to do some
All
of
right.
this.
I'll start off by just doing some figure eights around the arena. And basically what I'm going to be doing is the things that we all do when we're training horses, regardless of what discipline. It's keeping them between the aids to where it makes nice bit contact. He's going forward. So that's what I want to accomplish. I'm going to do some simple figure eights, and I'll be using my whip to kind of move him forward, and he'll be going forward into my hands, but that will be, and doing some figure eights. But what I want to accomplish is getting him to where he makes a nice top line and stays between the aids.
Okay, well, do your thing.
Now he's kind of reaching down for the bit right there, and that's kind of what I want to accomplish. And I use my whip to kind of keep him moving forward. I have the reins down low. Now, I didn't do it that way the first time. It took me a while to kind of get him to where he's used to that rein being down low. But this way, I can develop his top line a little bit. It's a good way to warm a horse up if you're going to an event somewhere and he's got a little bit of anxiety and you want him to think a little bit.
Now I noticed that you do a lot of walking while you're doing this. And that's different from lunging the horse.
Right, yeah, you're able to use the whole arena a little bit. Well, what'll happen is if he starts getting a little flat on one side, you can change the direction a little bit, find a spot that'll work for you a little better. It's more like you're actually riding your horse. And there's a lot of times when I will continue a circle, but I like for him to think a little bit.
I noticed you, like right now, you've got the whip out behind you.
Well, yeah, I don't like to keep the whip out here in front of his face. It's more like a horse's tail. If you ever see a herd, you know, a horse in a herd of horses, they'll flip their tails. The older mare will swing their tail around a little bit to ask for their attention. It's kind of the same thing.
Okay, Clay, explain to me how you do upward transitions in gait and downward transitions in gait.
Well, it's a matter of how I use my 3 aids.
Okay.
And to begin with, you know, you're using more whip. Say I wanted to come out of this walk and I wanted to go into a trot. I'm going to ask him to move forward by using my voice and my whip right behind a little bit. I'm going to use a sound that I'll use consistently. And then I come right behind him and just touched him with the whip.
Uh-huh.
And then when I want him to walk, whoop, I'll use that fence sometimes to check him into the fence.
Yeah.
Now this time I'll ask for the trot again. Trot. Now just touch him with the whip a little bit. And then I'll associate the whip with my voice even when I want him to trot a little bit stronger. Then when I get over towards this fence again, whoop, and just where he has a corner of the, you know, just where he gets a glance of that fence, kind of makes him, you know, he knows he's going to check in there and come down and transition down.
And your slow down cue there is really unique to you, yes?
Yeah, well, I do this quite a lot, and I often do it when I'm tandem riding as well, and which are I'm riding another horse or driving the one in front, and I have come to just make my own unique communication with them. A lot of times when I want them to transition down, instead of saying whoop, whoa, is I'll just go huh, het, and they get accustomed to that. And usually it's just het, and they'll feel my hands will relax. And you know, he can sense that I become more passive too.
Well, and that sound itself probably kind of helps you cue yourself to kind of
it does
calm down a little bit.
It does.
And then what's the cue you use for stopping him? Is it just whoa?
Yeah, I do. Whoop, whoa. Now.
Oh, I see. Oop, ooh,
Yeah.
up and down.
Right.
Yeah.
It's I'm pretty consistent with those things. If he's in a canter or something like that, I'll just go hut, and it'll bring him down to a trot, and then when I can bring him from the trot down to the walk by just hut, relax, and then when I want him to actually come to a halt, that whoop, give him kind of a, you know, kind of little preamble there to where, hey, you know, you're gonna get the cue here in a moment.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoa. And now that's nothing written in stone, but,
Right.
but consistency on anything you do with them.
Sure.
You know, you could say fly to the moon. You know, it doesn't really matter.
In his Friesian Spectacular, Clay Maier does some amazing things with long reins.
Well, how would you start somebody who had never even held long lines, like me, for instance?
Well, why don't you come over here and try this, Rick? Now, take this in your left hand, but I'll show you something here first. Is you see, now, there's two ways. You could hold them like this, which a lot of people do. But during the long reining time, I like putting my hands like this because you're more sensitive. Your hand is more, you know, you're able to do more things with it like that than you can like this.
Right.
So you know, if you're going to become a driver or a carriage driver, eventually you may do that. That could be later on,
but for now we're going to hold them like that.
Hold them like that.
Okay.
And I put the whip in the same hand. Whoop.
Whoop.
Whoop. Whoop. But I point the whip back.
Okay.
And put it in your hand right like this.
All
Go
right.
ahead and do that.
All right. Now to get my feet right between the two of them.
Between them. Go ahead and just follow him.
Okay.
Move him forward. Now just shorten your left rein a little bit and make your reins even. And just get right behind him. Get directly behind him. Now let your left rein slide and move towards me.
Okay.
Let your left rein slide. Let it slide. There you go. That's it. And move them around you. That's it. That's it. Use more tension on the right rein to describe the circle. And you know that sound I make? It can be a kissy sound or a clicking sound. Go ahead and practice that a little bit. And practice swishing your whip a little bit, like your horse's tail was swishing. That's it. So you're learning to blend your aids a little bit.
Okay.
Let your right rein slide and turn him towards me now. Let your right rein slide. That's it. When you want to shorten your reins up, put them together in one hand and hand over hand like this.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. All right.
There you go. Aaron.
Aaron.
Now he's probably ready to trot for a while.
Ooh.
Good. Canter develops the trot. Now you should have a nice trot going. Blend your aids and keep that energy up. That's it, he's stretching down. See, you're starting to get a nice top line?
Yeah.
Now you're able to see that top line, aren't you?
Yes.
From there, where you might not be able to while you were in the saddle a little bit. Yeah, he's wanting to stretch way down. That's nice. He's starting to come down and feel your hands a little bit. You're starting to develop a little communication with him. Move towards him, move towards him. I think you're about ready to do some lateral work, Rick. What I do is I start getting them to where they just walk up and down the fence line. And the first thing I want them to do is I want to be able to see the outside eye, or the eye that's closest to the fence. I want him to get used to walking down the fence line looking at the rail. Then once they get to where he does that pretty much every time I ask him, I'm going to do what we call 3-tracking.
Okay.
So now I'm going to come down this fence line. His right front is making one set of tracks, the left front and the right hind is making a set of tracks, and then the left hind is making a set of tracks. So that's what we call it 3-tracking. Once your horse gets proficient at doing that 3-track down the fence line, then you kind of coax him away from the fence a little bit.
Okay.
He's doing the 3-track, coming down the fence line. Left is in there, and now I'm going to use this left rein and coax him away from the fence a little bit, see? Just coax him away from the fence.
Yep.
I took a quick turn at the reins, then Clay brought out some new equipment.
What I'm doing now is I'm setting him up for some more advanced things. And when I'm doing when I do my performance, or when I'm doing more advanced work, I either use a driving bridle with the blinkers on, or else I'll use the blinkers from racehorse blinkers.
Oh, okay.
And the idea is that he doesn't start anticipating what I'm going to do by my body movement. Hey. You know what, Rick? You know, the thing is about you is you've faced enough situations to where you're not nervous about doing it.
Yeah.
You know, you're not tentative.
Well, I know I've got a great teacher. Thank you so much.
Oh, well,
it was a blast.
Fun. I enjoyed doing it.
It was a blast.